that is working for me and for you. So being incompetent is very uncomfortable, feeling that, and then just accepting that I'm willing to feel it, and then also reminding myself that with this staircase that we've learned everything through, first we are unconsciously incompetent. Then yesterday, I became consciously incompetent. So I realized that there was stuff I really needed to practice and repeat. And the only thing that will, the only thing it takes is repetition, right? If I chose to do this talk every week for 2 years, I would probably be very consciously competent, but even more, I would be unconsciously competent. Everything would be in a flow because I repeated it so many times. So I'm going to get back to you in regards to that, Kate. Kate was asking me if I heard back from my brother. Not yet. But I'm willing to feel that uncomfortableness by not hearing back from him. Because I said yes to that, right? So what I'm getting at here is be willing to feel everything. Accept the feelings that will arise. Also know that repetition is the mother of skill. So by repeating us, using meditation in order to not panic and move away and push away what feels uncomfortable, we will become comfortable feeling uncomfortable. And this is something which is really important for us humans because we tend to move away from everything that is uncomfortable, right? At least I do. I'm getting better at it though. So before we move on, good, Adrian. Sometimes we need to hear stuff like this. Me too. I reach out to so many people during the day to hear stuff like this. So I'm glad that you're finding value in it too. So just before we go into this first meditation, for you guys that are new to me, I talk, meditate. We have approximately 45 minutes, these sessions. I'm practicing sticking within the 45 because it's so difficult for me to stop. So I'm practicing sticking to the 45 minutes. Kate is asking me whether I got a reply from my brother. So for you guys that are not aware of what the context is, I did these 5 days of what other people think of you. And a part of me doing stuff like this is not just sharing theoretically and what I've experienced and stuff like that. It's also putting me on the line, putting me on that path of walking the talk. So, we tend to hold back on what we think and feel because what will they think? We tend to hold back on our conflicts with other people because it feels too uncomfortable. So I shared that I was going to call my brother and talk with him about what I wanted to, I really needed to talk to him about our past because there's trauma involved there too. I see him having a lot of the same, addictions that I have. I was honest enough to tell you guys that I didn't get to call him. Then I wanted to write him. I didn't get to write him. But then I made an audio file for him, sharing like 6 minutes of what my intention was. And that's what Kate is asking about. So I will let you know when I hear back from him. Again, I am willing to feel everything. I really want to emphasize that as being the most important point. So let's start with the first meditation. The first meditation for me is also it's also always the intention with why are you guys sitting here wanting to share time. We're 36 people right now, right? Right here, what is your intention? That's what we're going to be meditating on. So let's just start by getting comfortable. Just noticing that in-breath and noticing that out-breath. And if anything needs stretching, do stretch it. Movement and meditation is very welcome. Maybe a small smile on your lips. listening to the sounds that might be there with you as a part of your consciousness. And now asking yourself the question, what is my intention today, participating in this session? What would I love to bring with me? And just be true to whatever arises. It might be a word, a feeling, an emotion. What is my intention? What's important for me to bring with me from this session? And just hold that in your heart, that intention. And it might be something that you don't feel significantly difficult. It might also be something which is difficult. But whatever it is, just hold it in your heart. And by holding it in your heart, I mean to have the intention and the focus as the heart as the focus for your intention. Let's take a couple of deep breaths before we move our attention outwards again. And please, you guys are already doing that. Hi, Nancy. So purpose, hope. What else, guys? What is your intention for this session? Just put it in there in the comment field so I can tune into that as well. For me, my intention is to continue just exploring this theme, and really also another thing is to slow down. Because what happens often with past trauma and also in addiction is that we do not slow down. Often we cannot get there fast enough to that yes. And then comes, no, why did I do it? And then knocking ourselves in the head, and then feeling victimized. And then after a couple, you probably know that feeling, that then maybe 20 minutes pass and we repeat it. The same stuff going out into the fridge or the smoke or the drink or whatever, right? So understanding and openness, humility, stop stressing myself. That's a good one. Flow through life with more ease. Being gentle with myself, guidance, courage to move forward. Be fully honest to myself. That's a good one too. Not reacting to traumatized people, being triggered by my trauma. Not being triggered by my trauma. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Siobhan. I think it's Siobhan, right? Glad to have you here as well, Siobhan. Kate, friend dying, now in hospice. My intention is to accept and let go. Kate, if you want to reach out afterwards in regards to how to do this, I've had clients that I've been with until they passed on. Please do so. Thanks, Jovan. Sip. So thanks a lot for all these different intention, hopes. So yesterday, with focus, on what this addiction is, what about this healing, what about this door through addiction, and by addiction healing trauma, starting to opening up that understanding. Also asking you guys yesterday to, when you did go into this pre-addiction phase, and I've been working on a word to, replace that addiction, because addiction is below the line, right? So I asked you guys to be really aware, record in whatever way, writing down, voice recording, video recording your process of the addiction, but not from a blaming side, not from a this is wrong, this more from a heart-warm, compassionate side, like an understanding mother or father that's just there with you. So if you didn't get to do this, quite fine. We're working with small steps. You can choose to do it today. You can choose to do it tomorrow. You can choose not to do it at all. Everything is a choice, right? Except death. That's not a choice. But from birth to death, everything in my world is a choice, and I choose to take 100% responsibility for everything that goes on inside of me. So addiction is something going on inside of me. Trauma is something going on inside of me. Does 100%, responsibility mean that it's easy? No, it doesn't. But I'm willing to feel everything, including reaching out and being vulnerable. So today we're going to be opening up some doors. Actually, Babette Rothschild, I can't write anything here, but I can share it in the circle called Carla's Circle. She talks about different steps working with trauma, but also different steps that I work with in addiction. These are some of them. So there's a 10-step escape. There's a safe place in the body. Resource persons, resource animals, or resource spirits could also be very useful. And then the safe breathing. We're not going to be going through all of these. I will be doing, as I mentioned, repetition is the mother of skill. So just as I'm next week doing 3 days with what other people think of you, I will be doing other 3 days with, working, healing trauma through addiction. Why? Because I know that from each workshop, I will get better and better and better at understanding myself and sharing with you guys. Today, we're going to focus on this one. Resources. People, animals, anything that we cannot see. This is like my roadmap for sharing with you guys. So the one that we're going to be working with today is this one. So that's with the resource persons, and I made this one this morning. Elena Babette Rothschild. If you Google her, she will probably pop up. Spell it in whatever way you can. Babette Rothschild. So this actually came up in a meditation for me. Working with resource persons. One thing important, whatever I tell you guys, I mean, it's everything based on my mind, my way of existing, right? So take anything you can, and everything that doesn't make sense, just throw it away. But anything that does make sense, go ahead and use it, but also be creative in regards to expanding on it. Maybe there's other things that you can apply to, and you can inspire me back, right? I would really appreciate that. So what this means is that as human beings, us in here in the center, with trauma, actually, one of the difficult things with trauma is that, and it's very important also to understand that what happens to us is not the trauma. The trauma is what happens inside of us. So what happens inside of us often has to do with us feeling alone in that either one particular situation, but trauma could also be through a long period of time in environments that are very stressful or hurtful or demeaning, or in other way, something that brings us below the line into this victim role. So using resource persons means that we will start working. We will do a meditation after I do this introduction. Working with resource person means that us in here will start having people, animals, if there's God present in your life, having God or parents or siblings or ancestors come to existence within your inner world. So we will be using what we as children call, magical thinking. We will be using what we call as grown-ups visualizations. It's the same. We're using our imagination to create something which we cannot not be influenced by. Fear, for example, is because we imagine stuff, right? We have the same emotional age as when we were physically age-wise 7 to 12 years old. That's why we have really hard difficult dealing with addiction. I mean, it's like being let go in a candy store, right? Nobody's saying no. I haven't learned how to say no to myself. And if you're listening to this, there's a pretty good chance that you also have a difficulty saying no to other people out there, setting those boundaries. I might be wrong. So resource persons, in just a little bit, we'll go into the meditation, is to just allow any person to pop up in your invitation to have a person that can be there for you, an animal that can be there for you, or, as I mentioned, something spiritual that can be there for you. Right now, sharing this, for some reason, I'm originally from Chile. I have this like Indian chief standing behind me in full, what do you call that, bodysuit. So right now I'm feeling as if he's there to support me, and I can feel my breathing becoming like a bit deeper, but also it's a bit weird sharing this with you right now here live. But it also makes me feel as if I have somebody behind me supporting me. It's like all this lineage, all these people behind me, all my ancestors cheering me on. So what we can use resource persons to is to, when we are in the need of them, to call upon them, or as I mentioned yesterday, call upon whomever is in this group. Because, I mean, I'm quite sure that most of us, if not everybody, will say, yes, please do me, please use me in whatever way you can when feeling, that is difficult. That's also why I created this circle called the Healing Circle. Not even to share anything in there, but just the people adding to that healing circle will have faces, will have people knowing that I'm here, I'm willing to be here for you in a spiritual way that we're dealing with this, right? So, hope it makes sense, and let's do the meditation. And if you have any questions after that, just please do feel free to share. So, let's get comfortable or uncomfortable, depending on where you're sitting. Okay. These visualizations are best done with eyes closed. If you feel more comfortable having eyes open, please do so. Taking small steps. And we'll always use the entry through our body and mind here and now. So a couple of deep breaths. If something needs to be stretched, just do so. And also, if this is new to you, meditation in general, or this inner work in general, just really take it easy. Slow is fast with us humans. So no need to rush. If something starts feeling too uncomfortable, feeling uncomfortable is okay. It just means that you are treading new areas that you need to start becoming comfortable with. But too uncomfortable, just move away and just open your eyes and get back to this here and now. So relax in your eyes, really inside your eyes, the muscles, really relax them. Relaxing your eyelids, shoulders, small smile on your lips, just a tiny one. And turn your attention towards your heart. Maybe you can feel it beat. Maybe you can hear it beat. Now just imagine that you're breathing into your heart and out from your heart. So imagining that the air flows into your heart. Imagining that air flows out from your heart. And also imagining that the air does not flow through your nose, but it flows in through your chest bone, in through your body and into the heart. And also breathing out is out through your chest, from your heart and outwards. Just continue having this small smile, relaxed body. And now slowly moving into an openness towards having a resource appear within your inner visualization. So being open to having a person, an animal, something spiritual. It can be a person that you do not know. It can also be people that you love dearly that are no longer here. Not physically here, but in spirit are very much here. And just be very open to having whomever, whatever arises, arise. And be willing to feel everything. Be willing to feel and open up to anything that arises. And just look at this person or animal, this resource from a distance. It might be that the resource is already close to you. But just slow things down. Remember your relaxed eyes and body, relaxed breathing. Everything is safe, everything is okay, everything is good. Now really look at that person or that resource. I will just use the word person and then you can rephrase it to whatever is inside of you. But really look at this person. There are no words. This person is here to be there for you, but without any words. And just feel and see this person moving around you and getting behind you. You can just feel this person standing behind you, and you will have probably different emotions, sensations. But really do continue that calm and easy breathing, relaxed eyes. And if it feels right for you, have this person put one hand on one of your shoulders, or both hands on both of your shoulders. Just notice what happens when you feel this connection, this touch from this person that is such a resource for you. Really just be opening to feeling everything. Feeling everything. So if it's vulnerability, if it's fear, if it's whatever might arise, just be there with it in your heart. If it's strength, if it's sorrow, just be there, being willing to feel everything. Continue the calm breathing. If you have physical or emotional, mental or spiritual impulses, reactions, do be open to them. Not holding anything back. Breathing softly into your heart. Breathing softly out from your heart. Now have this person, this resource move around in front of you. Still no words, just that smile, that connection. Feeling safe, feeling good, feeling okay. And just look at this resource in all its light. And now start breathing into your heart and exhaling from your heart towards that person's heart. Taking in a deep breath into your heart, exhaling from your heart towards that person's heart. And when inhaling again, inhale from that person's heart into your heart. And really let that air out again in a big sigh from your heart. Let anything that you need to let go of go out through your heart to that person's heart. And again, breathe in from that person's heart. Now, just taking the small steps that we're taking right now, we will make a gesture towards this person to thank them for being there with us, for us. And the gesture is completely up to you, whether it's a small bow or not, or putting your hands to your heart, small smile, whatever feels right for you. And then watching this person slowly walk away, sometimes looking back at you. And now, not disappearing, but still being there. Not visible, but still there. Just slowly take your time getting ready to move your attention outwards, but not letting go of this contact with this person. Maybe doing small movements with your body, not knowing why you're doing that, but just being true to whatever happens inside of you right now, and having this person out of sight, but in your heart, always. So really, when you start opening your eyes, maybe if you already have, so just stay with that breathing, stay with that sense of this person still being here, this resource. Knowing that you are not alone. Knowing that you can always draw upon this person. Let's stretch or whatever is needed. Yeah, exactly, Vienna, heart to heart. So you guys, if you just arrived, I am recording this and I am posting it on Insight Timer. We're working with, right now, resource persons or resources. And there was a question from Michaela. Yeah, they can be alive, but actually what we're using is our magical thinking. It's our ability to imagine. So, for example, for me, as I mentioned, first it was this chief, and then Ram Dass, which has a very big part in my life. If you don't know Ram Dass, you can watch the documentary on Netflix. His name is Ram Dass. I know that some of you guys, or a lot of you guys, know him. He has a documentary right now called Going Home. And just by saying this name, I get goosebumps because, I mean, he's had such a big part of my life. I've never met him. He's really a resource person for me. He's really, one of these central people. Like, as I mentioned, this drawing came up in a meditation. And it was so powerful because the next step that we can, take, not today, is that they start circulating their energy too. And we are there in the center being, able to draw from that. So the documentary on Netflix is about Ram Dass' last period of his life. And the reason why I am so drawn to him is, again, by his ability to just be, and just share. And there was a very important time in my life, not that long ago, that I really came to realization that it's better for me not to believe anything, because by believing something, there will be stuff that I don't believe. So instead of believing anything, I will just be open to everything. So Ram Dass, with his life, he's very open to reincarnation. I'm open to reincarnation, but I'm also open to, heaven or whatever is out there. I'm open to there being nothing. So by being open in this life, I can take that into heart and I can use that. And what we're working with here is how can we start using these resource persons, in my case, when I open the fridge. Because that's my addiction, right? That's so difficult to me. I understand it on a theoretical level and I help people with it. But me, just being honest with you, and that's the way of my path, is to be honest and also walk the talk while I'm talking it. So my challenge is how can I change this? How can I start, with my own addiction, the phone. I mean, how many of us in here are what we could call addicted to the phone, right? Most of us probably. So let me just know, are there any, thanks a lot, trajectory. Also, let me know, are there any questions to this resource, person, animal, spirit, or anything? Let me know if there's any questions from you guys just before I move on. I'll just scroll up and see if there's anything. Yeah. Okay. Good morning, Claudia. Yeah. So, Michaela, when something when something is emotional, we can become very aware of what the power in the emotions are, right? Because often when we have trauma, when we have addiction, we tend to push away the vulnerability. We want to numb it or take away the focus from it. So looking at the time and knowing that I'm practicing keeping within the 45 minutes, we're going to be moving towards something that I will challenge you guys, recommend you guys to do today. If this is your first day, what you could do is just notice what is happening when you start that addiction, before, while you're at it, and after, but without blaming, just from an open, loving heart, from a compassionate side of you. So for you guys that were here yesterday and taking the next step today, yesterday was saying yes, just noticing what's going on from a compassionate side. Today we're saying no. And what does this mean? What I'm actually asking you to do today is to say no to this enchantment. Yesterday I talked about, I wanted to find another word for addiction. I wanted to find another word for addiction because addiction means that we're addicted to something that we cannot control. There's something, we're being villainized by something. I'm the victim, and then there's the addiction, right? So in order to take responsibility for this, we need to find other ways, being creative. So we need to find a way today, for how to, break that enchantment. So what I'm asking you to do today is that when you do take that cigarette, or when you do take that phone, when you do open that box of candy, when you do sit down, knowing that you should go to bed, but the emails are just, I need to do this, say no. Not from a blaming part again, from a compassionate side. So what we can start understanding, and I'm not saying that this is the same for you, but it's the same for me. It is for me, and it is for people that I've worked with. Our emotional age is very low. You can just ask yourself, when you are pre-addiction, pre-enchantment, when you're not completely enchanted, how old are you? When you are in the enchantment, when you are about to do what you are so accustomed doing, grabbing the phone, ask yourself the question, how old am I? And I'm quite sure that your emotional age is pretty low. Not just because of this, but because we become good at what we practice. And all of us in here, we're 145 people in here right now, right? None of us from the, school have had not one single hour, I'm assuming right now, right? But I haven't, and I went to a private Catholic school, but we didn't have any, teaching on what emotions are, what are relationships, what are thoughts, how are we going to deal with addiction? All of these stuff, which is so key to being a happy human being. We only start doing that stuff when we feel bad or depressed or with low self-esteem, and then it's from an angle of as if there's something wrong with us. What's wrong is that we haven't learned this in school with our parents because they haven't learned in school or from their parents either. So what we're doing right now, us here in this room right now in this circle, is we're doing something that our parents couldn't do. We are pioneers right now. It's important that you understand this, that I understand it, because my parents were not able to do what we're doing now. What we're doing now can resonate, with your children, if you don't have children and you're not having any, with other people's children or with other adults. And that is what we'll pass on for generations, right? So going back to the emotional age. So the emotional age is important to understand that when we have a low emotional age, it's so difficult to say no to other people. There will probably be quite a significant hero role inside of you that pleases other people, and it's difficult to set boundaries. And why should it then be easier for you to say no when you open that box of chocolate? We haven't learned how to say no inwards either. I hope it makes sense, but take this as, what I'm thinking might be true for you also, and then taking action today, because we could be listening to a bunch of live events and reading books and insights and all this, but if we don't put action to it, if we don't plug it into the electricity and become alive and do something, just one thing today, then it will just continue. So what I'm challenging you on, what I'm encouraging you to do, is that have this one day, just one day, where you say no when you are about to do the stuff you do. So mine will be the phone, mine will be the food, and mine will probably also be the not going to sleep when I should, which is I've usually gone to bed at 1, 2 in the night, and now I'm down at 9:30, 10. Why? Because I made a decision back then to slowly taking small bites of that elephant. That's how we eat an elephant, right? And then starting moving that earlier and earlier and earlier. Then I'm getting up early and doing stuff like this, which I would much rather do, because my addiction is mainly from 9:30 and onwards, right? Then I would be binging food and watching a bunch of stuff that wasn't very good for me. So I decided to make, say no, go to bed earlier, and then having this fresh start, which I would much rather have the connection with you guys. So going back again, my challenge to you is to say no today, but from a warm heart, and having this resource person with you. So Ramdas is going to be behind me. Maybe Ramdas is going to be standing like this behind me. Jiggling, because he was very fond of jiggling too. Maybe that's why I jiggle that much. So he will be standing behind me when I open that fridge, or when I drive into the gas station to buy something. He will be there with me, behind me, and so will you guys. I'm gonna take the liberty to also have you guys, 151 of you, standing behind me later on today when I'm about to do my thing, when I'm about to do my addiction. So one thing is saying no, practicing that, becoming better at that. The other thing is using the resource person. The third thing will be to really be the main awareness that is opening that door of addiction. Because what will happen is that when we do not go with the addiction, we will feel a lot of different things. Much of what is the trauma will start, arising. What happens is that when we take away that addiction, when we break the enchantment, when we take away what is calming us down, then we cannot use that to calm what is there already. Then that will start appearing. That can manifest. I've had hard time these couple of weeks with breathing. Something is happening in my body. I had the EEG, the heart checked. I had blood samples, all of that stuff. Everything is fine. So it's pointing at something psychological. So I'm putting myself, in a position now where I'm practicing this. And what I'm saying here is, be aware of the symptoms that arise, because they will be pointing towards trauma. And that is what we're using this for. We're going to be using the addiction to start healing the trauma. But we're just going to be taking small steps. Lots of words. I hope it makes sense. I am about to finish off, but when we started, I said that there was something that really became so clear to me this morning. That's why I love doing this stuff, because I'm just, in that, turning around that stew, really creating new understandings of what I share and how things work inside of me. So when I sat down this morning to do these, writing down my thoughts, I'm very fond of writing down things and drawing and doing stuff like that, and I really encourage you guys to do so also. When I did that, I started drawing this one down here. So let me just share what it means. Maybe I can do it right here. Let me just see if I can turn this. So I'll be drawing at the same time. I hope that you guys can see what I'm doing here. So over here is the resource. This is where we tend to stick. This is where we start. We continue just being with our addiction. And we can have quite a good life over here, just eating and drinking and doing whatever we can not to go into trauma. But then we can start circulating into trauma and out of trauma, collecting more resources, going more into trauma. And going into trauma here is hard, but the more we do this, the more we build ourselves up, understanding ourselves, challenging ourselves, the more resourceful we become, the more we can go into trauma. And then we'll start being able to circulate more in trauma and then get out of trauma again. This is together with a therapist. You can do this alone also, but I definitely recommend having a therapist, a skilled one in dealing with trauma. So what happens here is that you will start being able to circulate and releasing all that trauma in here. But then this was not new for me. What happened this morning was that I understood that by continuing this process, trauma becomes less and less. Continuing this process, we start being willing to feel everything. And suddenly, we will end up here. Right here, where we are free of suffering. I'm not at all there, but I can feel that it's true. I'm wearing white trousers and I dropped a red pen. So what I'm getting at here is that having the resources, having the trauma, having the ability to start using the resource persons and going into trauma, nice and easy, because the addictions are a door into the trauma. So by working with the addiction, we're working with the trauma until we're ready to start letting go of the addiction and facing the trauma, working with that. And this is where we need, this process. And by liberating ourselves of the trauma, Medusa was the goddess with all these snakes. That the fable is that when we looked at Medusa, we will become stones, because she was creating that effect in people. So the Medusa is the trauma. Us starting to look at Medusa and dealing with Medusa means that we will start, de-stonifying ourselves, start creating more liveness and becoming more alive as human beings. Make sense? Or is it completely doesn't make sense at all? Let me know. Okay. So, great. So thanks a lot for that, guys. As I mentioned to start with, let's take small steps and also accept that slow is fast and that this can take years, but also accepting that whatever small step we take today, we've moved one step forward, right? So we're about to finish off. I just want to finish off with a short meditation because I'm getting quite fond of that meditation. You probably know which one it is if you've been with me for some of the other sessions. And that meditation actually also came into existence in these circles. So that wasn't anything that I was doing before. So we're about to finish off. Let's finish off with a meditation. And I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you guys that if you're here for the first time, the meditation is about us using our imagination and being on this big field of grass. It's summer. It's after all this COVID thing, and we're actually able to embrace and hold hands and feel the air and the sun and everything. So the opposite of trauma is connection. So what we're dealing with here, what we're working with, is also to start using this group, these people that are in here as resources when we are in those times of need of having somebody there as a resource person. So let's get ready for this last meditation. So just noticing your in-breath and your out-breath. And just having this small smile on your lips, or big smile on your lips if that's the case. And me right here being grateful for being with you guys and practicing with me, walking this path with me together. And let's use our magical thinking, our imagination to, all of us right now, be on a big open grass field. It's summer, it's warm, no clouds, easy breeze. And there's just a chattering, people laughing, people walking by other people, just putting hands on shoulders, acknowledging eyes, smiles. And now everybody's being asked to gather in one big circle. And everybody finds their place, trying to make a circle, trying to, where can I stand? And everybody's just new to each other. Some might know somebody, but in general, everybody's new to each other. And there's really this sensation of just, despite us being, big or small, despite us not being very skilled or very skilled, everybody's just here to learn. Everybody's here to be inspired and inspire. And we start becoming more and more quiet, settling down, noticing our breathing, and noticing that everybody else's breathing is also becoming more calm. We're still looking around at other people, smiling. Some have started closing their eyes a bit and opening them again. And now being asked to hold the hands of the people standing to your right and to your left, taking down your hands, and might be a bit strange because you don't really know the person, but in some odd way it still feels right and safe, and there's a longing, and feeling those hands in your hands and just giving them a small squeeze and laughing a bit. Just breathing in deep, closing your eyes, having that smile on your face. Just feeling that warmth of those hands, that movement from another person through you and through into the other person. And now start breathing into your heart from the center of the circle. Into your heart, and be breathing out from your heart into that circle. And just feeling the breathing of everybody. Just feeling the openness to sharing and being vulnerable and being strong and being weak, being vulnerable, being everything. Just being willing to feel everything and see everything. Really feeling your heartbeat. Really. So finalizing this circle and this big field, everybody's looking at each other and everybody's shaking the hands, which makes us laugh because the whole circle is just moving. And then just finishing off with embracing each other. And it might feel a bit strange and holding a bit back, but it's fine. It feels good. So slowly now, watching everybody in this circle on this grass field, just sitting down, starting to talk. And now us right here, moving back to this here and now, feeling the chair, the pillow, the sofa that is carrying us, starting to move our attention outwards. And stretching if needed. So, thank you so much for being here with me, with everybody in here today. If you just come on like in the last 10-20 minutes, I am recording this also. This is day 2 of healing trauma through addiction, through enchantment. And there's another day tomorrow, same time. Next week I'll be doing another 3 days on what other people think of you. And as I mentioned before, do reach out, whether it's to share your stories, if it's something that you want to share or you have any questions. Do reach out, don't hold back. It might take me a while, maybe 2, 3, sometimes 4 days to reply, but I will reply. And yeah, thank you so much for being there. Again, just reminding myself and you guys that what we do now is what we will pass on, right? So if we have kids, if we want to have kids, if we're, if the kids have already, left and you're older, doesn't matter. We're still passing on. So my main motivation, my main inspiration are my kids, and looking at the 7 generations forward from here. What will what I do here mean in 7 generations through my kids? And I'm already seeing them grow into, I have 2 girls, 11 and 13. I'm seeing them grow into themselves and seeing what we pass on, the good and the bad. And we need to accept that. None of us are going to be perfect parents. So I thank you so much for being here, because I strongly believe that we can make that difference. And it is completely within our reach just by working with this stuff that we're doing now. Thanks a lot, everybody. Yeah, exactly, grandkids. Thank you, Susan, Kathy, Wendy, Sandra, Elvira, Tina. Good to see you also. Andy, thanks a lot for being here. R, Erica, Daniel, everybody who's not, written anything in the comment field. I see your faces out there, so thanks a lot for being here. Hope to see you guys again tomorrow, and let's just keep on practicing, keep on sharing. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. So this was the end, and I just realized that I have an appointment in 8 minutes, so it's going to be a very short goodbye. Thank you so much for being on this day 2. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye bye.